Hi, everybody. We're here with the team from VSP, uh, Greg, Sid, and Nathan. Happy to have them all here today. Greg, anything to add on the levers or the actions that you've taken to build or improve culture?
Both Nathan and Sid have spoken to it. Certainly, I agree with Nathan's comment that you have to have a pioneering spirit because now in this COVID environment, it's required, honestly, the team to develop new skill sets and how they influence an outcome and how they negotiate and how they collect information, how they check in with the business to get a pulse on, a project or an initiative. So we're kind of pushing the envelope from a skills perspective. And then, Sid's point is well taken as well. So it is interesting how through Microsoft Teams, we're being exposed to new technology. And, quick sidebar, it's proven that when you stare at a screen for 30 minutes an hour, you're actually blinking less and you're experiencing dry eye, which leads to fatigue. So it has provided new opportunity for VSP in how we target the market around those concerns, dry eye as an example. But I've noticed just in myself, we call them 30-minute sprints. We start the day, 7:30, and it goes until after 5, in some cases through the lunch hour, and they're all 30-minute meetings. So it draws on your cognitive skills, your attention skills, your ability to stay focused through these 30-minute sprints because you're expected to be on. So it is developing new skills within the team. So it does require that they, really take action and develop new levers, rules of engagement, and how they support the needs of the business, support our culture.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point about the dry eyes. And certainly, someone who's worked from home for a while, I've seen the switch from just ongoing remote meetings to the need for video. And I think it really, changes in both good and bad ways, right? Great point there.
I like what you said, Greg, about the need to be always on. You were home. You don't have that face-to-face interaction. You don't have the visibility into your work that you typically would have had in the past. So I would like to see what the impact of this is going to be on the culture where the teams feel like they need to be 100% on 100% of the time to get the visibility to show that you're putting forth value-add work. It'll be an interesting experiment to company culture.
I agree. I think what's going to happen, honestly, individuals were very good about creating or cultivating their own path, their own journey through hallway conversation, through connection. And if they had aspiration of becoming, a manager, director, VP, senior, whatever, right? It was based on access. So what's happened, to your point, Nathan, is it's created this new dynamic where you're always on. In some respects, we have more access to individuals today than what we've had in the past. Chief Operating Officer, Vision Care, our Chief Operating Officer of VSP Global, et cetera, our CFO, right? So we have more access. It'll be interesting to see how people can leverage that to really develop their career path.
Yeah, we focus actually. We did a whole training on my teams around just meeting etiquette. How do you handle meetings that are virtual all the time? And I agree. I think emotional intelligence is going to be one of the top soft skills to master going forward. Interestingly, as leaders, because I don't have the day-to-day interaction with my team that I had in the office, I'm finding that the way I lead the team is having to change just a little bit. I'm more of even more of a cheerleader than I was before, right? I'm kind of more of the sounding post. I'm more of the let's bounce ideas off each other and coaching them to the answer that I probably ever was before, right? Because there's so much stuff going on, we need the team to be a little bit more self-sufficient. So I'm finding it, I'm learning new skills myself. But I also think as we get more access, as Greg had mentioned in another video, organizational savvy is a skill that we probably need to focus on, right, and teach, and because our teams are definitely getting engaged with more people than they were probably when we were in the office in person.
That really aligns with some of the data we had on one of our recent polls, where we asked about, now that you're kind of stabilized in work from home mode, what are the things you're focused on? And then the number one and two, significant areas of effort were changing talent processes and remote culture building. And it sounds like that's been a big focus for you too, manager training as well, just getting people comfortable with this remote environment. And it's almost a new pedagogy of management skills, right? I think Greg and I were talking a couple of weeks ago about the book Multipliers. I'm a big fan of that book. I think he's read it, right? And how this model kind of supports, but also supports that theory, but also makes you learn how to do that in a different way. And it's really about elevating people on the team. It does put everybody on an equal footing, but at the same time, it's a very different management style than most of us are used to.
It is interesting. I've heard it said that this pandemic is fostering the great psychological experiment, right? It's stressing us in a number of ways. We had a tip yesterday from one of our presidents on how to engage the team in one-on-ones. So how are you doing? How are you contributing? And then the manager or the other individual explains how they're doing. So you're trying to provide full perspective on, how are they contributing, challenges, opportunities, et cetera. How are they doing emotionally? And it builds the emotional intelligence that Nathan spoke of. But you're also sharing how you're doing personally and how it's impacting you. So they have an appreciation for not only themselves, but you as their manager, how this pandemic, economic uncertainties are impacting them.
Yeah, I agree. My team meetings, we make it a point to actually go around the room to just, talk about, how the week was, and have everyone kind of, share, within the 9 screens or, plus screens there. One of the things that I've found really interesting is I've been really, really open, sharing all the challenges, not just, of all the, work demands and the requirements, but it's a changing dynamic environment, and having to do all of that with 2 little kids at home. And so it's, the more vulnerable that you show, I'm not saying that, you have to be fully, kind of, paint a picture of, oh my God, God, all is war, right? But I think it's good for the team to know that, you are, having some of the same challenges that some of the others on the team are also having, right? So it's all about talking, being open, honest with each other, and sharing. And it's, it's good to also get some, positive vibes and feedback. That kind of, motivation goes around the team that helps, keep the team chugging along.